Hello, and welcome to the FIT Library. This is Professor Helen Lane, and I am one of the librarians here at the Fashion Institute of Technology. I'm going to begin this presentation with a question, and that is, why do we value information? Why in the fashion industry is information so important? And what is it worth to you? It provides us with expertise, accuracy, evidence, analysis, insight, and inspiration. All of these things are vital to being successful in the fashion industry. In this business, information comes in many different shapes and sizes. You might be analyzing something very visual, such as trends on a runway, colors, streetwear. You're also going to be looking at quantitative information, inventory, sales of particular items. All of this needs to be tracked. Economic, political, and sustainability issues are also important. You need to have a global perspective and also be aware of what's happening in your own country. Understanding labor, understanding political climate, understanding what's happening with the economy, both here and abroad, are all going to be vital. But mostly, you have to be doing all of these things at once. So, this is a chance for you to let us know what your favorite fashion news sources are. I'm sure you already have some. How do you keep abreast of what's happening in the fashion world? Where do you go to follow trends? Scan the QR code or use the link on the right and post on our Padlet site what your favorite fashion news source is. Feel free to comment and like each other's posts. This is a chance for you to get to know some of your fellow classmates. Now, I'm sure many of you posted very interesting sites, influencers, blogs, but it's really important that when you're using the library, that you understand that we provide access to authority and perspective that goes beyond popular magazines, blogs, and influencers. These are all very good sources that I'm showing here on the slide, but there's so much more. Through the library, you have access to lots of different types of fashion business publications and databases. They can roughly be categorized as follows. You have access to trade magazines. These would include Women's Wear Daily, also known as WWD, Business of Fashion. Also, more niche publications such as Footwear News or Sourcing Journal. You also will probably stumble upon something we call scholarly journals. We have access to so many scholarly journals that you're sure to find some when you're doing research using our databases. You may not be asked to use these very often, but you should know what they are. Scholarly journals publish in-depth primary research. It is highly specific and is written for a scholarly or experienced audience. Now, there's a type of publication and database that is supremely important in fashion business, and you're going to be studying it in another course. It's called our Trend Forecast or Fashion Forecasting Services. These offer an analysis of mood, attitudes, and tastes of consumer cultures, and they're mostly focused on future predictions, although not only on future predictions. Somewhat related, but not as pretty, are the market research databases. These are more sort of crunching numbers. They analyze markets, products, consumer behavior, and they focus on demographics such as income, gender, lifestyle, and life stage. Now that we've discussed the different types of fashion business publications that the library provides, let's talk about how to find that information in the library. Part of finding information is prepping for research. As a student, you want to be sure that you really understand your assignment before you even begin any research on it. Check to see if there are specific questions that need to be answered. Ask yourself, what sorts of publications? Trade magazines, market research reports? What sort of publications are likely to contain the information that you need? And come up with combinations of words and discipline-specific terminology to yield the best search results. Remember, searching is an iterative process, meaning that you can begin a search and then pick up more information to use to improve your search as you go along. The library offers 3 basic means of finding information from our collection. The first of these is OneSearch, which most students use to find books and ebooks, but which can also be used to find articles in trade publications, scholarly journals, as well as other media, images, video. It covers almost everything that we own or subscribe to online. Databases. We subscribe to these services online, and they are mostly covered by OneSearch. However, there are many times when you might want to use a database directly, and there are also certain very important databases that are not covered by OneSearch. These include our fashion forecasting services and our market research databases. So databases should be used when you want to focus your search on a particular topic or when you want to use services not covered by OneSearch. Last but not least, we have research guides. This is curated advice from librarians. These are great when you're not sure where to start or you need self-help using our services. You can browse by topic or you can search. Let's take a look at OneSearch. This is the library's webpage. Halfway down, underneath today's hours, you will see something labeled OneSearch. You can use OneSearch to search for books, ebooks, articles, and all kinds of digital media. OneSearch searches most of what we own, with the exception of some very important databases. You can search it from here, as I said, but you can also click to see the homepage from OneSearch, the full version. Whenever I arrive at this page, knowing that I'm going to be looking for a lot of materials for a research paper, I always sign in first. Signing in is not absolutely necessary for doing the searching, but it helps you along the way, and you'll see what I mean by that pretty quickly. So let's say I'm researching 1970s fashion. I'm just going to hit enter to search across everything. And I get nearly 2,000 results. We can see here 1,977 results. The first few results are books. They're labeled that way. Book, book, book. But then as we scroll down, we do get some video and an article. If we want to make sure that we're limiting the search to books, we can click on Resource Type, Books, and that brings us down to 723. Now, this is going to be both physical books and ebooks at this point. Let's take a look at a physical book. So, for instance, this book here, number 3, 70s Fashion, Vintage Fashion and Beauty Ads. So this is looking at fashion from the perspective of print advertising in the 70s, and the number indicates that it's in the advertising section. I'm going to click on the link to learn more about the book. I can see that we actually have 2 copies and they're both in place, and we can check these out. Since I'm signed in, I can place a hold request for the material by clicking here. So if I'm not in the library, but I'm at home, I can say, place this on hold, and it will be pulled from the shelf and put in the holds cabinet for me, and I will get an email. From here, I can read a little bit more about what the book is about. I see that it's highly illustrated, and that might be exactly what I want. I can also grab a permalink I can see how the book is cited in various formats, and I can save it to my favorites. All of those things, including placing a hold, can only be done if you've signed in with your username and password. So you would find the book in the main stacks, and then this is what's known as a call number, and you can think of it as the address of the book on the shelves on the 5th floor. 2 copies of this book should be there. I'm going to close this out, and I want to show you an ebook. So I'm going to limit this a little bit more, and I'm going to say show me what's available online and apply filters. So here's what we have, 40 results that are books where the words 1970s and fashion are mentioned. This is a typical ebook, and I'm going to open that up. It works in much the same way. We also have this as a print book, I can tell, because it has a call number and a physical location. But the ebook we would get from this database here called EBSCOhost ebook subscription. Once again, permalink, citation, I can do that. I can save it to my favorites. And if I want to read the book online, I click on this link and I enter my FIT username and password. And this works from wherever you have internet access. You don't have to be in the college. You don't have to be on campus, in other words. You can be at home. You can be on the other side of the planet, and this should work. So here is the ebook. It doesn't really look like much right here, but you can see over on the side to the side of where there's more of a description, there's a PDF full text as well as an EPUB full text version of the book. And I just click, and there's my book. I can flip through it. Okay? So that's book and ebook from OneSearch. Close this again. Let me show you where the favorites are. So if I click on this pushpin up next to my name, which has now appeared in the upper right, I can see that both of those books were saved to the favorites. I can remove them from favorites. I can add tags to them, all sorts of things. Under my name, I can also see what books I have out, what requests I've made, and I can take a look at my search history. You can also renew your books here on OneSearch. So that is OneSearch in a nutshell, and next we're going to be taking a look at how to access the databases. Before we move ahead to databases, however, let's take a little break and do an activity. I want all of you to use OneSearch to find your course ebook, Dynamics of Fashion. Once you have found it, use the feature included on the record for sharing the book with others. In other words, you want to look for the feature that allows you to create a permanent link. Post that link to our Padlet using the QR code on the side to get to our Padlet site. So once you have found the book, link to it and post that to our Padlet. See if everybody has really found the same book. That's the question. There are many editions of this book. Post what you think is the right one and discuss it among yourselves on Padlet. So here we are again on the library's website, and I want to show you how to access our databases. There are basically 3 ways. My favorite, and everybody has their favorite, is to go to the green menu, click Databases, and I get the entire listing of databases. I can browse by subject or search. Similarly, I can scroll way down to the bottom and access the same list using this link. Same thing, just scrolling and clicking instead of clicking twice. In the middle of the page, next to OneSearch, you'll notice a grayed databases option. If I click on this, this doesn't search our databases, it searches for particular databases. So let's say I know that I want to look at all of our forecasting databases. I can put in that keyword forecasting, and I get back all of the databases that are described as being forecasting databases. So here, since we have the forecasting services open, what you want to do is you can read more about a database by clicking on this plus sign. And if there are special instructions for logging in, such there are with almost all of these databases that are forecasting services, you will see this little blue exclamation mark that is prompting you to click on the plus sign to learn more. We oftentimes will have a tutorial associated with every single database, and to access the database, you simply click on it and log in with your FIT username and password. Now, you all will not be using forecasts in this particular class. You're going to be using that in a different class, but I'm just showing you this as an example. And we're in. But remember, you will want to use databases when you either want to be very focused, like you want to just search business of fashion or women's wear daily, or when you want to access specialized services like forecasting services and market research databases. So we've covered OneSearch, we've covered databases, and now I want to talk about the third access point, and that would be the library research guides, which are guides created by librarians based around certain topics of interest to students. Accessing the research guides is very similar to how you would access the databases. You can either go to the green menu. In this case, you come over underneath the blue and pink FIT, and you can click on Research Guides. This takes you to the complete list of research guides. You can also scroll down to the very bottom where you can find a list of research guides. It does the same thing. And in the middle, just as with databases, if we know or we suspect that there might be a research guide on a particular topic, we can click Research Guides and search for it. For instance, we could search for FM 108. And you can see here that several pages from something called First Year Experience come up. If I click on the main title, I'm taken to an entire guide built just for you, which should be embedded in your Brightspace course shell. It covers a lot of what we spoke about in this video already. You can also search for how to cite things. And we can see that there is a guide on citing sources in APA format, which is what you need to be doing in this class. So this is an entire guide just about formatting APA. Now, let's think about that. I just showed you that you can find a guide on how to cite your sources in the APA format. Now, some of you may be really familiar with creating bibliographies and citing your sources in papers, and others of you may not be that familiar with that. However, this is your chance to learn, and it is something that you will be required to do for many of your assignments as fashion business students. If you're unfamiliar with it, I just want you to think about it in this way. You're joining part of a conversation. You need to start thinking of your work as part of a larger conversation among individuals and experts in the industry. And to record that conversation meaningfully and respectfully, you need to cite your sources. So the format that is used in business is called APA, and it's something to learn now and something to make sure that you understand is expected of you. And it's not just about plagiarism or cheating. It's about being a participant in a conversation. And with that in mind, I want you guys to do one more exercise. So this one is called Sharing or Stealing. On social media, is there a right or wrong way to share and remix someone else's posts? Use the QR code on the right or the link below it to post your thoughts on the proper way to reuse or remix the creative work of others. And as you're doing it, I want you to think about the formal and informal ways that we join conversations and give credit where credit is due. And now, to round things out, you definitely need to know where to get help if you need it. In-person help can be found at the library services desk on the 5th floor of the library. You can also ask for help via our chat and text service at fitnyc.edu/library/ask, and we also have a phone number that you can use. And just another reminder that there is an FYE, a first year experience research guide, which should be embedded on your Brightspace. And that is going to review a lot of what was covered in this presentation. I'm going to give you just a screenshot of what this Ask the Library service looks like. You can see that there's chat, there are chat hours posted, and you can even set up a one-on-one appointment, either in person or virtually, with a librarian. So that's all. I thank you so much for your time and attention. Please use this QR code to complete a survey and tell us how well we did with our presentation. Good luck with your research, and we hope to be hearing from you.